Hello, I am Bonnie, the owner of Turquoise Tufa Native American Jewelry, and I am here to walk you through my 2024 Native American Jewelry catalog. I like to do these videos because it allows you the chance to see these pieces on the body. You get to see the scale of the pieces, you get to see the movement of the pieces, and I hope to be able to share with you some stories related to some of these pieces, some of the artists, and some of the collectors of these pieces. So I hope you will grab something to drink, maybe something to nibble on, sit down, settle in, and just maybe feel like we're sitting down at a table across from each other, enjoying one another's company while I do a little show and tell for you. This catalog is a little bit different from the others that I have done because it is longer. It's a full 32 pages full of Native American jewelry. It's also different because for the first time, I have arranged the pieces by the soul that they carry, by their spirit, rather than grouping them by artist or by culture. I think it has made for some really fun, whimsical, and beautiful combinations. I hope you'll agree with me. So as you flip through these pages, you won't be able to say, well, I'm looking for this artist in particular and turn to that page. You'll just look through the catalog and hopefully be drawn in by the beauty, the elegance, the whimsy, and the spirit that you find. Remember, every single one of these pieces of jewelry is one of a kind, handmade by some of the leading artists from our time and the past. We'll start out with the cover. And on the cover is a work by one of my very favorite artists. He's a Hopi man named Raymond Sequaptewa. And in my mind, his jewelry is the height of jewelry that is inspired by spirituality. You can't quite put your finger on his style, and that's because much of it is inspired by his dreams. Much of it is inspired by visions. There was a time when Raymond was in poor health, and during that time, he said he had some really, really vivid dreams that helped him create some of these amazing pieces of jewelry. The two I have in the catalog, I'm thrilled to have because Raymond does not make a lot of jewelry. In fact, I don't know if he is currently making anything, but because he doesn't make a lot of jewelry, it's really difficult to find his pieces, and it's really difficult to find the ones that were most inspired. Now, this piece is of a woman. You can see her head in relief there. It's carved, and Raymond loves to play with asymmetry. He loves to play with unique elements, totally handmade. Let me show you some of the unique elements in this one. First, you have two different styles of graduated turquoise beads in this necklace. You have the rondelles, and then you have these rolled beads. You also have 3 stamped brass beads, which is such a unique look. The colors of the brass play off the colors of this woman. He has carved this lovely face, such a sweet face. I'm not sure if the camera is picking that up. And she has little bead eyes. Also, what I want you to notice is how he has so interestingly extended this side of the turquoise beads down onto this dangle. It is so cool and just draws the eye in. You have the sugilite stone here, and he has set one drilled bead into it, and then we have a dangle bead here, dangle turquoise bead, and another little dangling bead. Notice this sinew here is her hair. It's a big piece. So lovely. Let me stand up so you can see her. Such a striking piece that is truly what we would call inspired and creative. It's signed on the back, and both of these pieces come to me from the same collector. She collected these in the late, I think the late 90s. She said that these two pieces are over 30 years old. Signed Sequaptewa on the back. And she has probably one of the finest collections of earlier Raymond Sequaptewa pieces in private hands. There was a time, interestingly, when Raymond was doing regular Hopi overlay jewelry in silver, but then he branched off into this style that defies explanation. Well, it appears that I do not have the amazing turquoise tab earrings that I wanted you to see. These are the tabs. I can't find them, but I'm going to edit in a little section of me wearing these turquoise tabs, or at least holding them up. Turquoise slabs or tabs. They're such beautiful turquoise. They're natural, and as you can see here, they have been pump drilled. Pump drills would leave this impression here in the turquoise. I'm gonna hold them up. How beautiful are those? So lovely. We'll move on now to the next Raymond Sequaptewa piece from the same collection, from the same time period. So it uses some similar elements, but it is completely unique from the other one. This is a lizard. And notice the lizard is carved like the woman was. Do you see how his big hand there? I don't know what you call lizards' hands. Are they paws? Are they claws? Anyhow, his hand there is carved. So you have this movement upwards, and then you have this downward movement in the foot. It's so, so cool. You have a coral eye there, and then a tufa cast textured body. This may actually be, it looks kind of like a cuttlebone casting to me, some type of a fish skeleton that he may have cast with. And then a turquoise pendant above the lizard's body. We move to the actual necklace part, and you'll again see how he has played with a little bit of asymmetry here. You do have graduated turquoise beads, and they're the same type of bead until you get to this portion where you have some nuggets and some hishi. Again, this is beyond creative, and it's so Raymond Sequaptewa. It's a big piece. Everything I show you from this catalog in this video is going to appear smaller in the video than it does in real life. So keep that in mind. It's signed on the back. And one other detail I want to show you that a lot of artists might not even think to do, but it means so much. Look at how Raymond wrapped the lizard's foot with a little bit of sinew. This to Raymond probably meant something. We may never know what it meant, and it may just be something that he will keep to himself for all times, but every single detail in a Raymond Sequaptewa piece is thought out. Nothing is left out, and there is nothing that goes into a piece that doesn't mean something. So I'm thrilled to have these two Raymond pieces for you. These early ones that I would say are some of his very best. Moving along, going with the lizard, I want to show you this tiny little fly. It's Navajo handmade, and it's a pin from the private collection of Martha Struever. Now, some of these teeny tiny pins look really cute on hats. If you put it on a hat band, let's see if I'll try to put my hand up. There we go. So it'll focus more on the pin. You have a tiny bit of repousse there in the wings. You have some stamping on his sweet little body. This is an old Navajo piece, and Marty did wear this on a hat band. Another thing you could do that would be really cute with a pin of this size is simply pin it onto a scarf. I love thinking of this little guy. He may be a bee rather than a fly, but I like thinking of him being amongst the flowers. So, a very special piece from Martha Struever's private collection. And let me take a moment now, if you don't know who Marty Struever or Martha Struever was, let me just tell you. She was my dear friend and mentor. I worked with her for a long time, many, many years. That's how I actually got my start in this business. Marty was an icon, truly an icon in the Native American art field. She was a dealer, she was a collector, she was a scholar who wrote 2 books. She wrote a book on Charles Lolema, which I can show you here. If you are interested in any of these books, I have copies that I sell. But she wrote this book, Lolema Beauty is His Name. And she also wrote this book called Painted Perfection on Hopi pottery, specifically the pottery of Dexter-Quoteskiva. Marty entered the field of Native American jewelry in the 1970s, and she had a background in fashion and brought high-end design to the way that she would combine her Native American jewelry with her fine clothing. She was known as being so classy. People loved to see what Marty was wearing because it was done so elegantly, and it was a little bit different from the typical Santa Fe Southwestern look that you find so often. Here is a picture of her in the inside cover. That's her out in the field on a trip. But the pieces that you'll see in this catalog that were Marty's were part of her private collection, her personal collection. And you can imagine, she was in the business from the early 70s until 2017 when she passed away. She had time for an inordinate amount of pieces to pass through her hands. Those that she felt were extra special, she pulled and kept for her private collection. I'm so thrilled to offer you some of those today. Moving along, I have for you these Perry Shorty earrings. You can see how bright and beautiful this light colored number 8 turquoise is. I'm going to take one out so that I can hold it up to the camera. Look at the matrix in that turquoise. Perry Shorty is known for using only the finest stones around. And he called me while I was putting this catalog together and asked if I wanted any jewelry and what I wanted. And I said, "Oh, Perry, would you be willing to make me some earrings?" Because I have not seen his earrings in a long time. He made me 2 different pairs of earrings. They're both in the catalog. He told me that he doesn't love doing earrings because you have to have perfectly matched stones, and it's getting harder and harder to find perfectly matched turquoise like that as natural turquoise gets rarer and rarer. He also said that when you work on earrings, it's such detailed work. So I'm so grateful to Perry for providing us with 2 pairs of just the best that there is. I love these. I wish I could keep them. One thing I want to show you, these are hooks And I know some ladies don't love the hooks because it hurts their ears. One of my friends and clients sent me these. They're called Lobe Wonder, and they're little, essentially stickers, and you can put them on the back of your ear and then you put the earring through, and it helps distribute the weight so that it makes the earrings more comfortable. These are not too heavy by any means. They're comfortable, but if you have really sensitive ears, you might want to check out Lobe Wonders. Moving along to this necklace by Joe and Terry Reano. This is really cool. It's 5 strands of hand rolled shell hishi beads. And I love the look. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. The reason I have it with these number 8 earrings is because the brown matrix in these number 8 earrings plays so beautifully with the brown shades in this necklace. Joe and Terry are from Kewa Pueblo. Some of you may know that is Santo Domingo Pueblo. And they work in the traditional old style of making beads. So they hand roll these shells out into beads. This is a time-consuming process. Most people don't do it like this anymore, but I feel like when you have these handmade beads and you put them on, you feel something. It's a very different feel, especially in our modern, fast-paced lives when everything was supposed to be done yesterday. These things take time, as in months, to make. And so when you put this on, it's almost like a reminder to just breathe, that we have time. Moving into the next earrings, which are little corn plants, and they're so sweet. So these are little sand cast silver earrings. They're not expensive, but they're so sweet. And they're little corn plants. As you can see there, they're posts for pierced ears. And as you may know, or you may imagine, corn is a symbol of life for Native people. It's also a symbol of growth, and these are so sweet. I really like them, and you can see how nicely they go with this necklace. I have my favorite Norbert Peshlakai buckle. I think this is probably one of my favorites of all times. This is his rosy-cheeked woman, and she's just so great. Notice her hair tied up. Notice her red coral rosy cheeks, her kind of asymmetrical dress, and her necklace. She's just amazing. Norbert is very influenced by Picasso's Cubism, and you can kind of notice that here in her nose. It's such a great piece, so amazing. I sold this in some of the final years that I was with Marty. We had this, I think, in one of our catalogs, and it has come back to me now for someone else to enjoy. If you're in this business long enough, some of your favorite pieces will come back, and you get to share it with somebody new, and that's always a special time for me, because I feel like it's a reminder that these pieces are not just for one collector, they're for many over time. This strap is a little bit too small, but I thought I would show you at least how it looks on a belt strap to give you an idea. The next piece I have is another one from Martha Struever's private collection. It's a Darrell Jumbo, very narrow hype bracelet, hype bangle. And this is really a play on the very, very early turn of the century height bangles. They're exceedingly rare, but this is a play on that type of bracelet. And you can notice he has textured it. He has signed it with his Elephant Man hallmark. That's an elephant there. It looks great alone or stacked. One caveat, it can't easily be sized, so this has to fit you. I'm going to go ahead, there's another one later in the catalog, and I'll walk you through it when we get to that page, but I want to show it to you because you could stack these together and have two. They're so cool. Darrell mostly does his great animal jewelry pins. And so it's always fun when you have a piece of jewelry from Darrell Jumbo that is not a pin. It's kind of extra special. The next piece I have is really extra special to me. It's a centipede pin or brooch by Clarence and Russell Lee. The reason this is so special to me is because out here in Santa Fe, we have centipedes and they are scary. I always take them outside because I don't want to kill them. So I do consider myself a centipede wrangler, but the centipedes are terrifying. They're like little monsters. And what I so appreciate in this pin is that Clarence and Russell Lee, a father and son, have depicted a centipede in a sweet way, a whimsical way, rather than a scary way. Notice his little heart tail and his sweet little feet. Look at how the back foot is in a different motion than the rest of them, just pushing off. And then look at his precious face with his red coral eye. Not scary at all. If centipedes looked like this, I would not be terrified. A funny story about this piece, I had a centipede that I discovered right when I got ready for bed. It was climbing my wall and it was making the transition from the wall to the ceiling in my bedroom. And oh my goodness, can you imagine if I had fallen asleep and the centipede had made its way onto the ceiling, come across and fallen on me? Oh, I can't even imagine. So I was terrified. I climbed up the wall. I got the centipede out of the house. And then it was only a few days later, it may have been even the next day, when this centipede made its way to me. So talk about a serendipitous experience to remind me that I can see centipedes in a different light. So I love this. I love this guy. He is big. Again, he looks smaller in this video than he does in real life. I have a pair of Sonwai earrings. These are very, very important. These belonged to Martha Struever, and these earrings are quintessential Martha Struever. I think these were one of her very favorite pairs of earrings. They were her very favorite pair of Sonwai or Maktima earrings. If you're not familiar with Sonwai, she is the niece of Charles Lolema, and she learned jewelry making from Charles Lolema working in his studio. These earrings are extra special because Martha Struever wrote the book on Charles Lolema. So she had quite the connection to all things Hopi and all things Lolema. They're multiple stone inlay in a really beautiful color scheme. Sonwai has a way of doing more feminine inlay than Charles. I just think only Verma could have done something that has that feminine of a look. If you go back to the inside cover of this catalog, you will see a picture of Marty wearing these earrings. She wore these with her Lolema jewelry quite often. She had a beautiful collection of some really high-end Lolema pieces, and that's when these earrings came out. They are truly stunning and truly special. To me, when I put them on, I feel my dear, dear friend with me. I see her. I just feel her presence. And I hope these will go to somebody who appreciates who Marty was and will work hard to keep Marty's memory alive. Moving on to 2 sweet band rings. I try to get different sizes, and I'm happy this year because I've heard in the past from people who have said, why don't you have little rings? I have a teeny tiny finger and it's hard to find really, really little rings. This is one of the teeny tiny rings. It is by Watson Honanie, a Hopi jeweler, and this is only a size 4.5. So those of you who have the tiniest fingers should be really pleased. This is gold overlay, and it shows, it shows a dance. We have some different katsinas there. Okay. So this, you can see that one little mud head guy. It's really a sweet ring depicting different katsinas at a dance. It only fits my pinky finger, but that gives you an idea of the scale and the presence of this ring. And now we have a Navajo band ring. This one is done by Norbert Peshlakai, the maker of the buckle that we had earlier in the catalog. Something really interesting about Norbert, he's known for his stamp work, and each different stamp stands for a different letter of the alphabet. So some of these rings are like codes, and he spells out a word, which is really, really fun. I actually have a sheet which shows every corresponding letter and stamp, and whoever purchases this ring will get one of those sheets so that you can decode your ring. This one is a size 7.5, so it's a little bit bigger, and there you can see a silver one and a gold one. I hate to take these earrings off, but I have another really great pair of earrings that also happen to be Hopi. These are by Duane Maktima, and this is an earlier pair by Duane. These days, Duane does a style of really, really contemporary looking inlay. Really clean, really perfect inlay. What I love about these is that they are set with turquoise stones rather than inlay, and the stones are different shades. This one is a little bit greener and this one is a little bit bluer. Can you see that? Now I would be willing to bet you that Duane did not plan that. This is what happens with good natural turquoise over time. It changes color. Now, if you're somebody who wants everything to be perfect and you can't stand for variations in shades, these earrings are probably not for you. But if you're somebody who's really into the soul and the spirit of a piece, oh, you will love these because they will continue to change a little bit over time, and it's almost as if these stones are becoming a part of you and your life experience. On the sides, you see these top bezels are 14 karat, and the bottom swirl motif is silver. Let me put these in for you. They're really striking. And when you have, you know, the gold bezel up here, it allows you to mix your metals. You know, I've got gold here, I've got silver here, and then gold and silver up here. Along with these earrings is the most important piece in this catalog from Marty Struever's private collection. Let me give you some background on it. This is a pin, a brooch by Liz Wallace. This is such an important piece. Liz magically and expertly created a Hopi eagle tail jar here. It's as if she painted it on here in multiple metals. You have gold, you have silver, and you have copper there. This piece she created for Marty, and if you're not familiar with Liz, she is an award-winning Navajo / Maidu Washoe Native American artist, and she creates the most technically advanced pieces in an array of different styles. Right now, she's working on actually using silver to form a basket. She just doesn't stop. She keeps innovating in her jewelry work. Back to this one. This piece is representative of a Nampeyo jar that Marty Struever had in her private collection that was actually Marty Struever's logo. This is one of Marty's old catalogs, and look at the jar. I mentioned before that Martha wrote this book on Dextroscopia and Nampeyo family pottery. In this book is the jar. It was made in 1903, actually, and it was purchased from Nampeyo by the great aunt and great uncle of an anthropologist while they were visiting Hopi with former President Grover Cleveland. Pretty cool. So that's the jar again, and here's Liz Wallace's version of the jar. As far as I know, there is no other piece of jewelry that has been made to depict this jar. So it's truly one of a kind. It's signed on the back by Liz. I do have one other pin that Liz created that was in Marty Struever's private collection, and the pin is another big jar, big Oya. Pat Pruitt is a multi-award winning jeweler, and he created this hype ring. What's interesting about Pat, who does this very contemporary work, he works a lot in stainless steel, and then the top here, this ridged top, is done in gold. So he has inset gold on stainless steel. This ring, Marty saw it and said, I have to have it. It's the best thing I've ever seen. It's very narrow, so you could technically wear it stacked with something else for a neat look. Because it's stainless steel, it can't be sized, so it has to fit you. It's a size 9. Now, if you're a tiny, tiny, tiny bit too small, there is something I've seen on the market. I can't remember the name of it, but it is like a silicone adhesive, and it's meant for jewelry. It's meant specifically for rings, and you can squeeze a little bit out into a ring, and then you can size a ring that way and make it a little bit smaller if the ring's a tiny bit too big. I don't think you can get it wet, and it's the kind of thing you would put it on probably each time you wore the ring. But if you fell in love with this, had to have it, and your finger was maybe half a size too small, you might want to take a look into that type of silicone adhesive that can help you fit into a ring that's a tiny bit too big. We have 2 more pieces on this page for me to show you. One of them is by Edison Cummings, who is a dear friend of mine and does a lot of custom work for me. Edison is an artist in the truest sense of the word. He started out as a painter and a sculptor, And then he started working in silver. In fact, when he first started doing jewelry, he worked at the White Hogan down in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he was given the bench that used to belong to the renowned Navajo artist Kenneth Begay. That's kind of a fun story that he told me last time we got together and shared a meal at Tomasitas here in Santa Fe. Anyhow, he does these hoop earrings. Sometimes he sets this little bead up here with a stone. Sometimes, as is the case with these, it's gold. However, this pair is the largest I have ever seen. Every girl needs a pair of hoops, and and if you want some statement hoops, you can have some statement hoops from one of the leading contemporary jewelers today. They're big and bold and beautiful. Edison took away, I think, 2 major awards at the Herd Fair this year, and I'm sure he's going to win awards this year at Santa Fe Indian Market. So if he does, you will have a pair of earrings by a multi-award-winning artist. Aren't they cool? And strangely, even though they're huge, they're not hurting me. You can see my earlobes are not being pulled down too far. They're really cool. The final piece I have for you is a sweet petroglyph pendant with gold by Arland Ben. Isn't that sweet? Look at how joyfully this little goat is leaping. He could be dancing. But what I love about this piece, it is on a shepherd's hook. See that hook? You can just hook it onto an existing necklace, which makes it so much easier than one that has a closed loop there where you have to really make sure it fits. And I'm going to go ahead and show you now. Later on in another video, I'm going to show you this chain, but this chain by Anthony Lovato of Cayo Pueblo looks amazing with this pendant. And it's so cool how you can just slide the pendant on because of that shepherd's hook. Okay, I know that's taken a lot of your time, but I hope you have an idea of the size, the scale, the movement of these pieces, and I hope that it's brought you some joy and some excitement going through the catalog with me. I'll come back for some additional videos. Thank you so much.